The first fundamental is breathing. So breathing, what it does when you take a full three-dimensional diaphragmatic breath, it oxygenates the blood. Also what it does is it puts a stretch on the torso. On the exhale, it's an opportunity with a pursed lip exhale to stimulate the core muscles. This creates contraction. The next principle is pelvic placement, stability, and mobility. And it's through the breath that we're able to stimulate the abdominal muscles to stabilize the pelvis in a particular position. We call it neutral position. And neutral is just a small, distinct, about a 2-inch curve at the lower back. And so when you're working in neutral and breathing with intention, stimulating the abdominal muscles in length and then in strength, we stabilize the spine in a neutral position, so it's extremely safe for everybody. Then the alternate position is called imprint. Imprint is a pelvic tilt, and there is a lot of technique on imprint. So the point is to, again, use the breath to recruit the right muscles to create the pelvic tilt called imprint, so that we're not over-recruiting the large dominant muscles, which is what you find in other fitness modalities. The next principle is rib cage stability. And so if we think of our torso, it's a cylinder. And so the rib cage is also a cylinder. The diaphragm lives in the cylinder, and your external obliques are connected here, and they also wrap around the cylinder. With the rib cage stability, we're asking the pelvis to come into a more neutral position. Often what happens is the rib cage starts to lift. And so the point is, with the inhale, there's expansion. With the exhale, there's an opportunity to connect into the external obliques and stabilize the rib cage. This is critical for people with low back pain. This is critical for people with shoulder and neck issues, to learn how to recruit their external obliques and all of their core muscles really, but specifically for rib cage stability, to keep that dynamically connected. The next principle is shoulder mobility and shoulder stability. So the shoulder joint is the most mobile joint in the body. It's a three-dimensional joint. Most joints are, but it's a highly mobile joint, right? It internally and externally rotates, upwardly and downwardly. The scapula, the shoulder blades, moves along with the humerus. And the shoulder blades live on the rib cage. So integrating the scapula, the humerus, and the rib cage mobility is a huge part of Pilates. Dynamically moving the rib cage in all three planes of motion assists in mobility of the shoulder joint and also gives more options for movement and stability at the shoulder joint. So it's a really critical part of the Pilates workout, and it really pairs with the rib cage stability. The last basic fundamental is head placement. So for me, this is a really, really important principle. So when people walk into the Pilates studio and I see these muscles and these muscles really contracted and super strong, that's a clue to me that they're overusing their neck and underusing their core. And so head placement is so simple and so basic, and it's the one that gets messed up the most, unfortunately. It is simply a head nod. That's it. It's cranial vertebral flexion on C1 and C2. It's a flexion and then a return to neutral. And then you execute whatever X, Y, and Z Pilates move, chest lift, whatever. So head nod, head placement, that's your final principle, your final fundamental.